to think about when they're creating their actions is, does it legitimize the Canadian state in any way? Are you appealing to the government for power? And if you are, then you're appealing to this colonial system for power in this system where they're the problem. So it's just a little bit of a weird cluster where you want to be like, oh, actually I don't really want to be asking my MPs for power. I don't want to be giving Ottawa or Parliament more power. I'm actually just like taking back the fucking power at this point. And I'm not going to legitimize like what you're saying. We're going to do this ourselves. Does it inherently provide power to someone else or try to shift your responsibility? So are you sending a letter being like, well, I did my thing and it's up to them now, like as an MP visit or sending letters to various organizations? You know, you can't let yourself get out of your responsibility. It doesn't end with sending a letter. You need to be active, and it needs to continue. Does it address root issues? So the root issues that are going on out there isn't just about a pipeline being built. It's not just about climate change. It's about the ongoing genocide of Indigenous peoples. It's about ongoing colonization. It's about a lot of things. Finding the root issues is really important, and making sure that your action sort of like speaks to those. Does it respond or relate to the wetsuits and asks? It should. If you're standing in solidarity, you should be centering sort of like their goals and their asks. You don't have to like say it word for word, but you should be sort of like we stand in solidarity with Wet'suwet'en, but you're like doing something unrelated, and that's not actually a solidarity action. So you just need to like do the follow through. Does it have an impact that will be felt? And that one's named because we are in a time of like extreme urgency right now. That like we really need to be skipping past letters and going to those like felt. So we've had lots of demonstrations in the street, and that should be our entry, you know? Keep going up. Does it make you personally uncomfortable or push your limits? It should. It should. If you're challenging your own privileges, if you're challenging your own notions, you need to be taking a little bit of risk, making yourself a little bit of uncomfortable. Whether that's skipping out of work an hour early, skipping a day of work, whether that's placing yourself at like possible risk of arrest, or agreeing to like provide something to an action. There should be something in it that is like advancing your political awareness and knowledge and that kind of thing. And also it's fun to do that, you know, because you walk away all successful and you're like, that was fucking great, I'm ready for more, okay? Sorry for the language. Does it delegitimize anyone else's struggles? And this is where that narrative back at the beginning of like police splitting narratives is important to think about. Are you going to stand in front of a news reporter and be like, you know what, I'm like really on their side, but I just can't see why they're burning tires. They're really polluting, you know? It's like, yeah. There are ways to form media points to have actions that don't delegitimize anyone else's struggles, not just Indigenous struggles or the Wet'suwet'en struggles, but people of color, more marginalized folks, poor folks, things like that. Does it recognize your privilege and try to balance that? It goes back to the pushing your comforts and boundaries thing. And is it strategic overall? So does it feed back into some of those like goals that the chiefs are asking for, or those like results that the chiefs are asking for? In terms of like, so strategies are made up of a bunch of different tactics, and goals can be achieved by a bunch of different tactics. Strategy is like looking at the long term. So while we might be feeling pressure and urgency to be like, all right, like what Trish said really resonates. I'm just gonna go and do this thing. I'm gonna shut down this road, and if I get arrested, I get arrested. I like commend you for that bravery, for recognizing the urgency, for like seeing this matter for like what it is. And also, there's no need to run out and get arrested. We want to be doing these things for as long as we can until we're stopped or they're no longer needed. So you can do a lot of things and get away with them. That TransCanada shut down last year. No one was convicted, okay? No one got arrested that day. The Shell terminal shut down, same thing. There have been like the port blockade in Montreal, no one arrested. The ferry terminal today, no one arrested. There's been countless actions that people get in and do and leave and get away with because they're thinking about it safely, that enables them to continue doing those things. And we want to be thinking about that. We want to be thinking about this long term, because this isn't just a 1 week call out for action. This is potentially a few months, right? If police are like, well, we're just going to try and starve them out this time, we need to be continuing to mount pressure. Yeah.
You mentioned a lot of actions and a lot of taking place in BC and some are taking place here. I'm not aware of other places where actions are taking place, and I'm wondering, is there a way we can, well, I'm sure there is, to coordinate the information about this and get it out front of how many actions have been going on?
We're about to watch a video. Exactly on that. Yep. And so this is just in that 1 week of color. And I wanted to insert this here for inspiration, for folks to know that like people in other places do care. There's like ways to plug in.
Can I just say something before you start? We ran out of slots on the sign-up sheet, so if you haven't left your email and which groups you want to share your email with, it's sitting here on a clipboard. So I made some. It's up there. Leave it there.
I mean, I'm glad we ran out of spots, but I totally will.
But please sign up if you haven't already.
Well,
It's on. Turn out this light here on this side.
Yeah, on the
Then
right
you have
side.
to just turn the light up on this movie side. that was a very short video. It's a lot of preparation. Sorry? If you want. Yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. We just like the beats. Cool. I'm just wrapping up with this, which is like the Chiefs being like, we remain steadfast in our position that no pipeline will be built on unceded Wet'suwet'en territory. As hereditary chiefs, we will continue to uphold Wet'suwet'en law on these lands and ensure that our eviction order stands. They're prepared to stand. Are you? A couple of events that are coming up. One in Toronto, that's happening this Friday. Folks are going to go and visit the RCMP office somewhere. You can find it on Facebook if that's basic information. 12:30 p.m. at Christie Pitts Park, if you're interested in that. And one, yep,
You could say that it's a meet at Christie Pitts Park in Maine.
12:30. Oh, on Friday, January 24th, join us as we flood the RCMP. Oh, it's off the screen. As we flood the RCMP, as they to get them to stand down and leave unceded Wet'suwet'en territories. Meet at 12:30 p.m. at Christie Pitts Park, and we will head to the regional. We will bus together to the regional RCMP office. Have a car, offer a ride to a friend. It is cut off, but you can find the entire event online on Facebook. The next one in Hamilton is save the date for February 2nd. It says, the Wet'suwet'en are currently engaged in an active struggle to protect their ancestral and unceded territories from industry. Nearly 1 year after the militarized RCMP raid, they fear a repeat, knowing the RCMP are prepared and willing to kill for industry. We must stand with the Wet'suwet'en people who fight for the land, water, and very existence. Join us for a lively gathering and march that incorporates all the things we'll need to stay motivated and determined on a cold winter day. Hot chocolate, hot food, live music, and a solidarity action that says we mean business, and we'll have fun doing it. Please dress appropriately for the weather. That one can also be found on Facebook.
Where do we meet?
It's to be announced, so you'll have to go to the Facebook link for more information, and I'm sure stuff will be shared in other ways. Yeah.
I had a quick question, I guess about either of these events and future ones. If you could provide any insight, and maybe not answer this question, how to maybe effectively gauge the risk of an action or event, because what we can see is an inconsistency in how certain populations or certain events are the risk towards one person versus others. And at one event, there might be charges, and at another event with a similar action is taken, there are not charges. So maybe you can speak that, or maybe you can't. I don't know. It's like a complicated question, I guess.
I mean, I wonder if maybe there's other people interested in discussing that briefly. We can just do that after. I think there is another part to this where folks want to talk about the new Enbridge pipeline that they want to put through Flamborough.
Can I add just, I think in most of these kinds of actions, before the action, people can say, I'm not interested in getting arrested, I want to stay in the periphery. Other people might say, I'm willing to trespass and go on the land. So usually there are roles for anyone who wants to join, and having more people there strengthens the whole movement. So please don't be afraid that you might get arrested. You have some choices.
My experience in Hamilton has been that Hamilton police tend to target people that they already know. Yeah, but that said, also like the Trans-Canada shutdown and the Shell shutdown were both like very large, impactful actions, and there were no legal consequences kind of to that. But like in a situation where there's like imminent arrest, the police often, like if you're backing off, like I'm out, I can't do this, like I can't be arrested, the police are usually pretty good at like letting you go. They're more interested in the people that are like, but I'm happy to talk about that more sort of after this wraps up, if you want.
Thank you very much.
And if anyone else wants to join us, I'm done my part, as long as there's no other questions.
Whoa.